That's where my interest kind of sparked through food. Then I discovered that, okay, well, food is a really big part of it, but what else is there? It's really about holistic well-being. It's how you feel overall. It's like what you do, it's what you eat, how you exercise, how you sleep, um, what your mental health looks like. And that took me to my journey into the supplement space and nutrition. I launched a number of brands within the big companies, but also within the venture incubators in the supplement space, and got a really deep knowledge and understanding of that market. It's really complex and it continues to grow. I think it's really interesting space. But ultimately, again, wellness is about holistic experience. It's about everything. It's about the spaces that you are in. It's what you do at home. And that's what actually got me interested in BadeSofa.
Well, we're very excited today to welcome Valerie Khayutin. I hope I pronounced that correctly. To our podcast. And Valerie is the North American CEO of BadeSofa. And if anyone wonders what BadeSofa means, I'm sure you're going to explain that to us. But it's a German wellness product that's been entering the US market. And with me being from Germany, I'm quite excited to hear about that journey. So welcome, Valerie.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Perfect. So we were thinking, like, if you give us some background about you, about your kind of journey into the wellness market, wellness industry, what got you to BadeSofa, what it's about. And then we also from that wanted to spring and talk about what it takes to bring a wellness product to the market. Because I think a lot of people obviously are interested in wellness. It's a very big movement. It's something very personal to people. And then really kind of understanding the business side. When you have an idea, how do you enter the market? How do you build a company around that? So we thought we could answer some of those questions with your experience and expertise.
Yeah, that sounds
Perfect.
good.
So just just start with your background maybe. Who are you? Where are you from? Where did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for pronouncing my last name correctly. I know that this is a tricky one. Khayutin is of Russian background, so I was born and raised in Russia, but I moved to the United States, geez, like 20 years ago now, so it's
Yeah.
been a while. And my journey into the wellness market really began through food.
Hmm.
I My first job after the MBA was managing really large consumer brands in the food category. And what was really interesting is that food is such a personal experience and it's such a huge contributor to your health and well-being overall that it just simply cannot be ignored. And that was something that I learned being a brand manager at a big companies, looking at all the trends, understanding how consumers are looking at it, that food is probably the first contributor to how healthy, how just overall of your well-being, how you're gonna go through life.
Yeah.
Um, that's where my interest kind of sparked through food. Then I discovered that, okay, well, food is a really big part of it, but what else is there? It's really about holistic well-being. It's how you feel overall. It's like what you do, it's what you eat, how you exercise, how you sleep, um, what your mental health looks like. And that took me to my journey into the supplement space and nutrition. I launched a number of brands within the big companies, but also within the venture incubators in the supplement space, and got a really deep knowledge and understanding of that market. It's really complex and it continues to grow. I think it's really interesting space. But ultimately, again, wellness is about holistic experience. It's about everything. It's about the spaces that you are in. It's what you do at home. And that's what actually got me interested in BadeSofa. My personal big wellness experience is taking bath. Bath is a big contributor to positive mental health, relaxation, and I kind of got into it when 4 or 5 years ago when I was trying to get pregnant. And I would take bath every Sunday. I would put meditation and relax. And I realized the true power of bath and water in
Mm.
general. And when I met Annika and Natalie, who founded BadeSofa in Germany, it was just such a natural fit for us. And we talked a lot about expanding the business into the US and the size of the wellness market in the US specifically, and just the perfect fit for BadeSofa here. And that's kind of how I ended up here.
Very cool. And I understand, didn't you recently move from New York to California? Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7 months ago. So it's very new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
different lifestyle. So
That's right.
post-pandemic, we saw a lot of people starting to understand and focus on their wellness and well-being a lot more. Did that coincide with the timing of your company's owners starting to see that market growing in North America, or that opportunity?
Absolutely. I think that North America, yes, but even globally, I think that pandemic was one of the experiences that kind of united us in a way, right? Like globally across all the countries. And I think that during the pandemic, one of the big trends that started and after the pandemic is that focus on mental health. Like people
Hmm.
realize how important the mental health and just part of managing your stress levels, managing your anxiety, connecting with others, how big of a part it is in your overall well-being. Um, and BadeSofa was actually launched in 2021, so right
Yeah.
after the pandemic, as pandemic was really kind of like soaring. So I think that a lot of this played a role in the success of the company. And in North America as well, I think that, it started with the pandemic, but the mental health focus is not going to stop. I think I predict that this trend is going to be even bigger and going to be even more prominent. But I think another trend that really accelerated the growth of BadeSofa both globally and in North America is wellness at home, because that's another big trend that was sparked with the pandemic. Or I would say that it didn't start with the pandemic, but it really accelerated the depth of that trend with the pandemic. And it's number one trend that I'm seeing right now in a lot of health and wellness businesses.
And it makes sense, like you were expressing, is that wellness and well-being is really that overall holistic concept, and it's a lifestyle. And with the lifestyle is how you integrate it into your day-to-day. And like you were saying, paying attention to the food you're eating. It's all the other routines and rituals that you build into your day to ease relaxation, to de-stress, physical activity, all of those things. It's not just something that you can do outside of your home once visiting a spa. It's really something that's most effective when you do it day to day and have it part of your routine. I mean, taking a bath might be more once a week than a day to day, but I think, like you were saying, it's really important what we do in our own homes and on a daily basis. So I think that's partly speaks really to that holistic approach.
So, as you touched on it, why don't you tell us a little bit more about BadeSofa and exactly what the product is and who your clientele typically are and who you're marketing to?
Yeah. So this is BadeSofa. Also, you pronounced that correct. I understand that your background is German, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's why we decided I'll do the intro.
A lot of consumers in the United States pronounce it as incorrectly as BadeSofa, just phonetically. So we're doing a lot of education on what that actually is. So it is pronounced as BadeSofa. And BadeSofa actually sits in a really interesting intersection between kind of furniture and home goods, which is what its actual category is, and health and wellness. So it's kind of like right in the middle. The literal translation of BadeSofa is bath sofa. And our best-selling product is essentially a set of bath pillows, very meticulously, very ergonomically designed set of bath pillows that create a really relaxing, very supportive place for you to take a bath.
So you're
We
taking
put
your pillow into the bathtub or into the pool, in basic
That's
terms.
right. That's right. It's a waterproof pillow. It's mold resistant, and it's designed to support your entire back, head, and neck, which is not common on the market right now. And yes, you can take it to the pool. You can take it to the steam room with you, and of course, daily or weekly, whatever that looks like for your ritual of bathing.
At what point did you join BadeSofa? Where were they at? Did they have a developed product on the market in Germany and you brought it into the US for them? When did you join that venture with them?
Yeah, great question. Annika and Natalie developed the product originally in Germany, in Natalie's house, in her kitchen, just sewing the prototypes in 2020. The two of them launched the business in 2021 in the EU. Well, in Germany is the biggest market, but
Yeah.
expanding in the EU in general. With They were actually on Shark Tank Germany, and that's kind of what kickstarted the sales for the business. And after the few years and proving the business case, understanding the product market fit in the EU, I think it was time to grow the business beyond that market. And US is the biggest wellness market in the world, right?
Yeah.
I think the latest number is $480 billion industry just in the US alone. And it kind of was a no-brainer to consider that market. Obviously, they don't have expertise with the United States or North America in general, and that's why I joined the team to lead North America expansion last year.
Very cool. And how does the North American market compare to the European market? Because I know even when we're designing a lot of hotels, we're typically removing bathtubs from hotels. And I don't know what the mix is in people's homes, whether they're still very prominent, heavy on baths, etc.
Yeah. So markets are very similar but different. I'll answer the first question about baths in the US. I would actually be curious if you get this right. So bath is the number 2 wellness at home wellness activity for the United States consumer. Can you guess what number 1 is?
I feel like we should, but I don't think I can.
Hopefully it's sleep. Hopefully it's sleeping.
It is not. It's actually watching TV. Which is interesting because, like, on one hand, you're like, well, can you argue that for some, TV also might have like negative consequences on your brain development? But on the other hand, I think that goes back to my point of like wellness is holistic, wellness is individual and personal. And for the United States consumer, TV is the number 1 way to kind of for self-care. Of self-care, and bathing is number 2. So bathing ritual, taking bath is very prominent. It's projected to grow. Freestanding bathtub market is growing. So that also kind of, in the US at least specifically, I can speak, that indicating that there is a big interest in this category in general.
Yeah, I mean, what we're hearing in terms of wellness kind of forecasts and trends is really, when we think about water, it's really going back to the origins of what spa is. It's like healing through water. And we're just hearing so much about bathhouses opening up and there's access to water and the bathing experience other than just a luxurious resort where you can experience that. It's just really making it more available for the public as well. And I think there's really that connotation that water really takes away anxiety and is really deeply relaxing. So I think I can definitely see that trend. And what's interesting too, when you're mentioning about the sofa relaxation, the TV relaxation, is what I discovered for myself, because we've kind of been cutting out TV a lot, thinking like, oh, this is not good for our like wellness routine. sometimes just sitting there and not studying something, learning something, having your brain being active can actually really relax you. So I'm kind of seeing that the TV trend can really serve as a wellness tool if it's done
Yeah.
consciously.
I think that it depends how you do it, right? Like TV can also be a form of meditation because unless you're scrolling on your phone and answering your emails and watching a show at the same time, but if you're really just sitting comfortably on a couch with a blanket, whatever, in a comfortable clothing, and you're just watching and paying attention to the TV show or movie that really engages you, I think that also is in a way form of kind of mindfulness and meditation because your attention is fully concentrated on what you see in front of you, you engaged, you in the moment, which I think is like a big part of wellness, right? Like that's again going back to that mental health aspect. I think the reason why it's so hard for people to distress is because our mind is constantly going either in the past or in the future. And whether it's watching TV or taking a bath, this is the moment for you to kind of be there, be present, and focus on yourself.
Yeah, you described that very well. It's that mindfulness moment, really.
And what's the feedback on your product in terms of how it's enhancing the bathing experience?
Well, so we tested the product before fully launching in market in the US in the beginning of last year. The most important thing for us was to understand the reviews, understand what the feedback is, right? Like find that is there a product market fit before we go into, what the marketing looks like, what the business model, profitability model, whatever. And I think the most positive thing is that response was overwhelmingly great. In general, I think that our product is very unique and people find and appreciate this because if you look at the bath pillow market right now, we kind of one of a kind, and we're standing in a category of our own because the rest of the bath pillow market is kind of what you can get on Amazon. It's usually very well priced under $30, but it doesn't last you more than 3 months because it starts to develop mold. It's generally not supportive for your entire back, head, and kind of not as comfortable. And also very important is design-wise. Most of them are quite ugly. It's not something that you would be proudly displaying in your beautiful bathroom and feel excited about looking at. And that's why we developed a product that kind of fits perfectly into where the market gap is, but also what consumers would really resonate with. And we've seen so far really positive feedback.
That actually makes me think of one question. Did the founders more personally develop the product, or did they identify there's a gap in the market, or did it happen that those two came together?
It started from the personal need of one of the founders. So Natalie was renovating her home in Cologne in Germany, and she has this beautiful Scandinavian style bathroom and really large freestanding bathtub. If you ever had to bathe in a large bathtub when you're 5'3" or shorter, it's not very comfortable.
Not relaxing.
Because you keep sliding, your neck is unsupported. It's just not the most not the most optimized for kind of relaxation and wellness. So she was looking for a solution for that. And she tried everything on the market. She tried towels. She tried to glue the towel to the wall. And that's kind of what that's where the product idea really came from. Like, what if I can't find something on the market, so I'm going to design it myself. And when she did, she realized that, there is actually a market opportunity for it. So she also tested it with her family and friends and some of the community in Cologne, and eventually realized that yes, it's a perfect combination of both a personal need where it's coming from your personal experience and your personal fulfilling your personal need, but also the market is just really ripe for innovation there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really perfect combination because it's not just jumping into the market because there's a gap in a business opportunity. It's like authentically something that helps you that you want then others to be helped with as well. So I think that's always, especially when we talk about wellness, it's just really that coming from the core than just a business idea.
Yeah.
Did the wellness aspect of it sort of develop as a marketing strategy, or was that what it kind of was always aimed at, to encourage people to bathe more?
It was always in the core of the company. Like US, for example, entity's full name is BadeSofa, the Home Spa Company Corp. So the kind of the category that we define for ourselves is that home spa, and home spa is always about relaxation and serenity and wellness. So that was always in the core of the company, because if you think about bath, that's what it's really designed to do. Like the end result is to bring you to the best version of yourself, to make you feel well and good, and that's kind of what we do.
And then going back to launching a new product in the wellness industry, because like we said in the beginning, I think there's a lot of people that have the desire, like either through personal experiences, that's something that helps them that they want to bring to the market. What would you say is some good advice and steps to bring something to the market, in Europe or bringing it from Europe to the US, that would be helpful for people to know if they want to get into this, like a little expert advice?
I think there's different ways to approach it, but I think ultimately you need to combine two things: that you passionate about and where the market taking you. And I'll elaborate on both. I think that a lot of the innovation that we see on the wellness market is driven by the personal need of the founders and people getting really excited about the sexy category and something that looks very, shiny potentially. But in my opinion, that's not always the way to go. I think you need to be personally excited about it. It's a prerequisite, because the business is hard. Like the business is always going to be hard, and you're going to have really tough times when you kind of willing to give up, but you need to remember that I am really passionate about it. I really believe in it. So I think it needs to be there. But ultimately, you need to combine with like, okay, well, this looks really exciting for me, but is there an opportunity on the market? And advice that I would give to founders, to people who kind of explore in this category, is to always look at the markets that are least sexy, least served, right? They're not the markets that already have a ton of competition, not something that everyone is already doing. Look at the categories that nobody wants to touch. Toilet cleaners.
I was going to say, what are the examples?
Yeah, like things like, well, even if you, and it's really coming from the example of bath pillows, right? Like bath pillow is not particularly exciting category. It's not the category that you necessarily see a lot of people getting really fired up about and want to innovate it. But from the market standpoint, the category is solid. It's a very sizable market. It is underserved in a sense that all of the products are pretty much the same. They serve exact same purpose. They even price the same. There is very little differentiation, and there is kind of a really sizable opportunity that you leaving on a table by not looking at the markets like that.
That's interesting, yeah.
I think that's right. And when going back to what you said at the beginning about the routines and just doing things regularly is what it all comes down to. So there is no real magic pill, and it's having tools that either inspire you or aid you to continue with your routine on a consistent basis that really has the most profound effect on your wellness and well-being. And yes, rather than chasing after the shiny object all the time that you think is going to have this instant effect. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying there.
Yeah. I mean, another example of that category is digestive wellness, for example. Like talking about going to the bathroom is not particularly exciting or something that a lot of people want to explore, but this is fiber, for example, is a big category that in supplement is growing for that reason because, like, yes, from the market standpoint, not particularly great, not like something super exciting, but if you look at the opportunity, it's there.
Yes, it's yeah, we always think of sleep, nutrition and exercise as the core three, and then it's adding in additional elements that just enhance that even further, whether it's mindfulness, meditation, like you said, additional supplements. And it isn't actually that complex, but it just takes effort and consistency to make it, to make it impactful on your life. So have you explored taking this product beyond the consumer market into more of a commercial hospitality industry?
Not yet. That's the short answer. I think I mean, who knows what the future will hold, but in the next few years, there are plans to expand it into hospitality, into the B2B side of the business. Right now, for me, it's only been 12 months in market in the US, and there is a big value about being focused and concentrating your spend, your effort, where you can have the biggest ROI at the moment, and not spreading yourself too thin. And that's really the main reason of why we're going to continue to concentrate on D2C at the moment and explore B2B opportunities and hospitality in the next year or so.
I think that's a really good point that you're making, because the same you were describing about not just jumping on the kind of shiny, interesting object that's easy to market and it sounds exciting. It's the same thing. It's the same thing by seeing so many different opportunities and then jumping into 10 at the same time, because there seems to be so much business out there and everyone is interested in it, but then you don't build a solid core and foundation, and the product might lack in quality over time, or you're just spreading yourself too thin. So I think that's a really good advice I'm hearing with that too, is to sometimes just stick to your core, build the foundation right, and then all these things can come. And that's really where we need to learn patience, I think, especially in our times now, where patience is really not something we're being trained at every day with technology and stuff. So I think that's another really good, and I'm kind of saying it to myself too, because there's always these other things and avenues you can go into. So that's another.
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point about importance of quality. One of the things that's really a core of what BadeSofa stands for is that quality of the materials, quality of the design. So everything is very, very meticulously calculated and perfectly designed. It looks beautiful, it feels beautiful, but it also lasts you a long time. It's not the product that you need to repurchase in the next few months again. If you buy it once, it lasts you for the next years, really, if you're taking a proper care of it, of course.
Yeah.
But this is such an important part for us that focus and concentration on one thing at a time will allow us to maintain that quality, and I think ultimately ensure success for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely hear and read a lot about that. It's so easy to get distracted at the moment by just so much information overload, and wanting to pursue different ideas, and like you even said, different industries. So whilst you might have an eye on it for something down the road, keeping focused on your current market and perfecting that and building that foundation, I think is key.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I wanted to see, like you were expressing with your personal wellness routine as well, that bathing was a really big part for you. What are your other routines that you found really helpful for you? What are your wellness rituals? How do you cover that holistic wellness, where it's not just about the body, it's the mental, the emotional, the spiritual side? What does your wellness world look like?
So I have three core things that are really important to me. We already covered bathing. I think that, this is something that I started before pregnancy, then throughout my pregnancy, and even now it's just kind of like a true self-care moment. Put a meditation on, pour yourself a cup of tea and just like spend that time, even if it's just 15, 20 minutes by yourself in a bath. That's super important to me, something that I do weekly. The other two things are, well, the second one is really, I think a lot of people integrating it is consistent workouts. And I use the word consistent because I think that, and Ben, you touched on it earlier, that it's more about the consistency and keep going than committing to like, okay, I have to do it 6 times a week or whatever. I have a specific kind of routine and I have a specific cadence in which I work out. And that's really important to me, just having that continuity. I always block the time and I'm always going to do it because I know that at the end it's going to positively contribute to everything else in my life. And the third thing is I consider that wellness because that's wellness for me. But planning my week and planning my days ahead of time versus getting into my day sporadically, trying to catch up to emails and figure out what's going on. I always like to be prepared on Sunday nights. I make a schedule for the week. Sometimes it's a loose schedule, things could change, but understanding what goals I need to accomplish for the week, what success looks like, and doing the same daily as I'm having my cup of coffee in the morning. For it doesn't take that long. It's like 5 to 10 minutes max. But just planning this out, to me, I find that as a form of self-care. Maybe it's like part journaling, part of it is more just making sure that you know that you're on top of things. But that's been I've seen a really positive impact on my life with this practice.
Yeah, I mean, both of those, I feel like we're kind of had similar experiences where with the workout, it's you got to find something that's sustainable because we've done things that feel like great for a month or so, and then you're like, you can't maintain it because, you know, you have a travel schedule or it's just too much for the body at a certain age. So I think that really is a key.
It is, yeah.
And then the other thing you were saying about the planning out, we've really noticed as well that if you're just reacting every day to things that are coming to you, you never really work on the things that really matter and that move you and the business forward. Because there's everything can come and someone else can disrupt you. If it's emails, phone calls, you never stay in that kind of focus zone. And you can't ever really achieve something if you're constantly pulled out and if you don't have that sort of vision of what are the 3 big things that day to focus on versus the 100 things that make me busy and make me feel important, but they don't move me forward. And that's really, those 2 things are something that we've personally really experienced. So that's really nice to hear that that works for you as well. So you might be.
I think that creates discipline also. And it's at the end, discipline, I think, creates like a more positive self view of yourself because you see that you're able to accomplish things, which in turn, again, very positive overall for well-being.
Yeah, I just read that this week that the discipline is the highest form of self-respect, and it's so true. If you look after yourself, you're respecting yourself and you're being consistent. So, but we often don't put ourselves first for some reason, and I'm not too sure why.
Well, it's really falling in love with discipline as well, because there's obviously the fine line of if you're so disciplined that you're stressing yourself out, that obviously is the counter-effective. But like you're saying as well, just seeing discipline as more something that you can maintain a good mental and health state, and if you just consistently stick with something. So it's just finding the joy in discipline.
Yeah, and I think it's about putting healthy boundaries on your work, your life in general, versus being too restrictive to the point that it's really stressful. Yeah. And that's kind of the same way that's like for diets and going back to my food background, right? My personal view is that restrictions and very rigid restrictions actually doing more bad to you than good. Same with everything else.
You were saying just like work-life balance in a way as well. How is wellness infused into the DNA of BadeSofa, being a wellness company? How is that implemented into the day to day for people, how it's managed, anything around that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And one of the things that I really like about Annika and Natalie when I first met them, before North American market was a thing, is so they both women and they have 3 children, each of them.
Wow.
So the work-life balance has always been really important for them. And I think that they did a phenomenal job in carrying this throughout, like carrying that value throughout the entire kind of company and who they hire and how they treat people and what flexibility they give them. For example, a significant workforce of the company in Germany is other mothers who are able to work part-time or till 3 o'clock, because I guess in Germany the school pickups happen at around 3 o'clock is what I learned when I started. So that I think providing your employees that flexibility and ability to really succeed at work and at home is really important. That's really in the core of the company globally, starting with Germany, but also expanding into the US.
Yeah, that's a good note. What other things would you say you and the founders have been looking for building a team around that? How much was those people's personal understanding of wellness important? Because you were mentioning there's an alignment of it being mothers, part-time working. What other elements have you been looking for that is really critical when you hire someone?
Well, I can speak for the US here,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm actually building the team right now. And I think it's really something to consider is that people who are perfect fit for you in the beginning, which is where the United States business is right now. It's only been a year in market. So I'm kind of consider that early stage. Might not necessarily be the same people that would be successful as you grow past like 20 million, $50 million. And I think building your team around that understanding is really valuable. So what I'm doing right now with the US market is I'm looking for people who can essentially Google their way through everything. If you can Google, you can probably succeed, like kind of being flexible and figuring out things on your own and being a little bit more nimble. And, if you need to do something outside of necessarily your area of expertise or comfort, you just do it and we kind of figure out together. I think this is the attitude that's really, really valuable for me and my team right now. And that's kind of how majority of my team, and I have a phenomenal team in the United States, and they all kind of have this attitude. But as I scale, it's really important to realize that, okay, now we need to develop deeper skills and deeper expertise. And, Googling doesn't necessarily solve everything as you go past, let's say, $10 million in revenue.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part you were describing there as well, is in the beginning, having people that are not necessarily needing every step of the way all the processes laid out and being told exactly how to do things, because it's a figuring out. And then the next step that is really difficult for companies too, once you're through that phase, is, okay, what do you put solidly into place? What are the processes, the cans and can't do's and the skills, and then just really, because otherwise you can't scale, like you were saying as well, based on that kind of free flow that's needed in the beginning. And I think that's always a lot of challenge for companies to kind of go to that next step and start implementing those things as well. So that's probably what you were referring to.
Yeah, and I've seen it like my experience kind of spans from working for really big companies, then for mid-sized startups that went through the acquisition, which is like another level of change, to really small ventures from the ground up. And I think that every founding team like eventually hits that point when, okay, like now it feels like I need processes, maybe I need different team, maybe I need to rethink of how I'm doing. So there is kind of, it's always a step approach, and it's always good to to be aware of that going in, because I think a lot of times that happens to founders where they think that the team that they have in day one is going to be exactly the same team that they have 5 years from now, and that kind of letting go of that notion it could be really hard. So that I'm preparing myself and structuring the team accordingly with
Yeah.
flexibility, understanding that I will need to change and evolve because the business in 1 year has grew significantly, and I expect even higher growth next year. So I'm already kind of getting there.
Yeah. That's I think that's really important. Like when we're saying about giving advice to people entering this market, it's understanding the wellness market, but then also understanding the business side of the wellness for the product ultimately to be successful. So that's good, helpful advice.
Do you encourage your team to adapt your wellness routines, or certainly planning their week or their area, what they define as success?
Well, I think that wellness in general is very personal. So I would never say, and that's why when I'm sharing these things, like, okay, this is what works for me, that's not necessarily something that works for you. So I don't require my team to plan their week meticulously every Sunday, or plan their day the way I do. Um, I do ask my team to have whatever level of planning that they feel comfortable to be prepared and to achieve the goals. Some people are very comfortable with writing things down and they always have a notepad with them. Others have in a laptop or taking notes on their phone. Like, I don't care how you do it, as long as the end result is there. But I think it's really important to kind of keep it flexible and allow people to create their own space and their own way to get there.
Yeah, there's very few things in life that where one size fits all really works, and certainly wellness is one of those where you really got to find what works for you. Like Anissa said, what you can do consistently, be sustainable, have some self-compassion when we all know life gets in the way and you miss a routine or one of your planned workouts, and just part of life. But it's just doing that drip feed every week and just integrating it as part of your life, like brushing your teeth or eating your 3 meals a day. It should just be part of it and not seen as this huge exercise or task that you have to complete every week.
Right. It's not a burden. It's part of something that really completes you.
Yeah,
and it should be rewarding. Sometimes it's hard, but hard is good because it rewires your brain to achieve and complete hard tasks. And we all know that growing consistently is also beneficial for obviously physical but mental health as well. And it is a holistic approach. So we love that you have that background and it really stands behind the product, or you stand behind the product that you're selling and bringing to the market in North America. And that's one thing that we always get sometimes concerned with trends, especially with the wellness market that's growing so quickly, that people start to leverage it for financial gain more than improving people's lives. So balancing the two is great. I think of it as like when you start seeing new labels in the supermarket on foods that they were always gluten-free, and now we have a sticker on us telling it's gluten-free because sometimes it's a marketing campaign. Rice is gluten-free. It always has been, but now we have to have a sticker or highlighting how much protein's in a food. It's funny how the marketing world can bamboozle us to believe we're doing something good for ourselves when we were either already doing it or it's actually not good and it's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, but I think it's also a fine line, because I totally agree with you that you should not just look at the trends and say, okay, well, now we're gluten-free. Does it make sense for us to be gluten-free? Who cares? We're just going to do it, right? That's not the right approach. But I think that where marketing is really powerful and the way it should be used is to communicate to consumers, like tell them what you stand for, tell them what you believe, tell them what's in your product, how it's made. And I think that's a true purpose of marketing. It's really just to tell people that, well, we have always been gluten-free and we still are gluten-free. I know you're looking for it. We are. And the same with the bath pillows. Like for us, I view marketing as just a way to educate people on what the product is and what the benefits are, and then ultimately decision on whether or not this is right for you and for your journey is yours.
Yeah. I think like you were describing as well, when you got a really good product, like you were talking about really the quality of it and longevity, and then marketing is more highlighting those good sides and those good intentions. And that's why I think when marketing can explode, because people ultimately feel the right essence behind it. It's just more, because without marketing and people don't know and see about it, a good product is not valuable anything because no one knows about it. So I think this is really where marketing helps highlighting the good intentions and the good quality. And that's where a product is successful. And I think that's what you guys are doing. That's really a really showcase for that.
So what's next? What's exciting you as you move through the rest of this year into 2025?
Well, so right now it's end of August. We are about to enter the Super Bowl of D2C sales and consumer goods in general. So November, December is our highest sales season. A lot of our products are bought as a gift. It's a part of self-care for yourself, but also for your loved ones. So we're kind of gearing up for that. There's a lot of really exciting stuff happening in the remainder of the year in Q4 specifically. And one of the things that we just launched is completely new product. It's called BadeSofa. It's still connected very much to our mission of well-being and self-care, and it's still very much connected to water being that big element for it. But now we're bringing that self-care into the pool. So BadeSofa is the first and only floating piece of furniture. It's a floating sofa, so you can use it as an outdoor lounger, or you can float on it in a pool, and it's very stable. You don't fall from it. You don't even need to get wet getting in and out of the pool if you don't want to. It's a truly innovative product, and it looks phenomenal. It feels phenomenal. I'm really excited about that.
That sounds great. I think especially living here in Arizona, where we're kind of getting out of the extreme heat, but then generally pool season being so prominent here, that sounds very exciting to us.
Arizona, actually, Phoenix, Arizona is the number one market by pools per capita in the United States.
Yeah, not surprising. There's a lot of pools here. They're required this time of year in the middle of the summer when it's 115. There's only two places you can be, and that's in the pool or in your house.
Yeah, you had a tough summer.
Yeah, we're getting towards the end, but we love it here. It provides us a lifestyle that complements how we want to live, and that wellness and the connection to nature and being outdoors a lot, apart from the summer. It's fantastic.
I'm definitely going to be looking into that new product, though. Personally.
Is it on the market, did you say?
It is on the market. It's very new. We just launched it a few weeks ago and already got phenomenal feedback from customers. It's called BadeSofa, and it's on our website, BadeSofa.com.
Very cool.
Right, we'll check that out.
And are you based in Los Angeles?
I'm in San Diego. I'm in Del Mar.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
How does going back to sort of personal wellness experience, because Ben was saying earlier you were in New York before, how did that affect like your personal wellness moving from the city of New York to the West Coast? Is that a benefit?
It's a huge adjustment. It's, there's a lot of challenging things, but also a lot of positive moving to California, because you just mentioned being outdoors and in nature. So this lifestyle is a lot more allowing you to do a lot more of that, to surf or to go hiking. Just being outdoors in general, I quite like that. But obviously, adjustment from living in New York for like 18-ish years, it's a little tough.
Yeah, that is a big change, and we understand coming from. We moved from London 11 years ago to the desert, so it was a big adjustment, but one we've embraced and thoroughly enjoy. So it's different. It's very different.
How long did it take you to fully kind of feel at home and adjust?
That's a good question.
Quite a while.
Probably 10 years.
Any day now?
Probably 10 years. No.
I think as we evolve, our experience with living here evolves too. So it's been this constant journey of us evolving, moving through different stages of our life and our business, and therefore our relationship with the state and Scottsdale has evolved too. So it's never ending. But I like that because it's not becoming stagnant. I like always us to be moving and growing and evolving and experiencing things and appreciating things in different ways.
Yeah, that's such a good perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation.
It's been really nice. Sorry to see there's so much alignment with you personally as well.
Yeah, I would keep chatting, honestly.
Yeah.
How much time do you guys have?
What else? What other things can we dig out and
anything
discover?
else you want to share or bring up or think is important, far away?
I think in general, when it comes to BadeSofa specifically, a lot of people questioning, do I need this product? Is this the right product for me? And I would say that if you're even remotely interested in taking a bath or kind of exploring, introducing that as part of your wellness journey, try it. Try BadeSofa, try just one pillow and see if that's right for you. If you feel comfortable, if that elevates your experience, complete the set. We have phenomenal return policy and customer service in general that, it's kind of a risk-free trial of the product that I would encourage anybody to do.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. And it's interesting with products because often it's not the actual product we want, is who we become with that product or the lifestyle it might give us or the association with the community of other people who have that product that we actually really resonate more with than the physical thing itself. So, encouraging people to become more consistently wellness focused, and if this is a tool that helps that and makes you spend an extra 10 or 20 minutes in the bathtub, then that can only be of benefit.
Yeah, that's such a good point. We also see a lot of people, because it's such a beautiful product aesthetically, it's very pleasing, and you just leave it in, you don't need to hide it in a closet or like throw it somewhere where nobody can see it. You just leave it in a tub, right? It's just kind of sitting upright there, and when people come to visit, if somebody came into your bathroom, we get a lot of people asking like, well, do you have any affiliate program, referral codes, things like that?
Yeah.
Because their friends see it and they get really excited about it and want to try it for themselves. So I think that aesthetics of the product and the way it's designed is also very, very interesting and distinct on the market.
Absolutely. I think knowing as designers and architects, obviously for us, design is so important. And it's really important because your visual comfort and wellness by looking at something that gives you the feeling of cleanliness, clean lines, and also comfort. When you look at it, when you look at your product, it's instantly relaxes you just looking at that comfort and that wanting to like almost sink into this soft piece of furniture in a way. So I think that's really a big part of it too. It relaxes you looking at it versus a harder bathtub. So
yeah,
I can see that.
And this is exactly it. It's a piece of furniture. Yeah.
Very cool. Well,
I think this,
yeah. Thank you so much for sharing everything about your product and especially your background. We love to hear your routines, where you got into the wellness world, and that you're still in it and supporting people on their own journey. So thank you, Valerie.
Yeah, thank you very much for your business insights as well. I think that's always really helpful for people to.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure. Really enjoyed chatting with you.